What's interesting, what we're not acknowledging, because there is an element Palace has got it somewhat wrong, because Brighton started off behind him.
Yeah.
Now we consider Brighton a bigger team than Palace.
Yeah. And they've been
A more consistent team than Palace.
No.
They're not bigger than Palace, but they're more consistent in what they've done in the last year.
Yeah, I agree.
They are bigger than Palace.
They're not big. They're not a big.
No,
They're not a bigger football club.
Oh, you might have a point.
No, let's move.
Give me
history.
some metrics though. Give me some metrics. Big in what sense?
In terms of where they're moving to, aspirations, they're flirting with Europe. Palace don't flirt with Europe.
Yeah. And they've
Brighton's been flirting with Europe.
I think it's gone up to bigger. I don't know if I class Brighton as bigger, but what I can say is
Better
they've been a
stadium.
lot more consistent, and like in the last few 5 to 10 years, they've had a much clearer plan and vision.
I think you say better, not bigger.
I
think you say better, not bigger.
That's what I'm saying.
Brighton's bigger than
I might
Palace
be
now.
siding because you got to think about it. So if you look at some metrics, right?
Yeah.
Stadium, fine, right? That's one thing. Facilities probably about the same. Their new training ground's amazing, Palace, right? If we look at their status as a Premier League team, I would say in less time they've cemented themselves more, right? Have they even been relegated since they come up? No, they've stayed.
But I think if you went out and said to people, rattle off
Go on.
teams that you associate with the Premier League, I think more people would say Palace before Brighton.
That's longevity. I guess.
But I'm saying that's what we mean. That's why you got to say better rather than bigger. That's why I agree with Ash.
They're
Wait,
bigger.
I haven't finished. Then, even managers. So what they bring forward, they contribute to the game. People are going to Brighton for managers and players before they're going to Palace, right? They're consistently churning out players. I think on a few metrics, you could look at it and be like, if you just take away all like your football
historical
kind of
nostalgia
or indoctrination.
No, I'm listening to it.
I understand what you're saying, but I still think the wording.
If I brought you
I
on
still-
the planet and showed you these two clubs and everything they're dealing with, you might be like, yeah, Brighton.
I'm not being funny. People still call Everton a big club. They're not a big club. What have they won? They can't be called a big club, but we'll do it on history.
Yeah.
We say Everton's a big club based on
Forest is a big club.
Forest is because they won the Champions League.
Yeah.
We do it on history. Now, Forest are returning. Looks like they're returning. But that's
I completely agree with that point. I'm just still looking at, because for me, Brighton is very much in the last 10 years. Like, very much so.
Yeah.
Whereas Palace, we know, they've been
For
up
us.
and down for like 20 years. Yeah, so I'm
For
thinking
us
if you look at it now,
Londoners, yeah.
if you look at it now, and maybe it is the face of it, like we are Londoners and what it feels like to say Palace, but I hear you. I'm not saying no. For me, I think
Immediately
better.
it didn't feel
Right now, I still feel better, but I think in terms of trajectory, I think the bigger part is
I
coming.
think you might be onto something there.
Yeah.
Man. I agree because they're going in the right direction, and as much as
and they look more stable for it.
I was gonna say there's a question here, because as much as what's his name, Steve Parish, runs that club very well. Obviously, they've got the training and etc. Managerially, they've got it wrong more often than they got it right.
Now, that's the thing. I think they've been too cautious managerially. I think you're right, because remember, they went back to
transfer market. As well.
Roy.
They went back to Roy a couple of times. It was very much kind of like, we're just about to get through. And their view was, let's kind of just survive in the league a couple of times. So I think Glasner was them almost probably
trying to move forward.
Trying
that
to be
kind
progressive.
of Zerbi type higher.
But you say that though, remember they had Frank de Boer.
Yes.
Remember they really tried to kind of do that early, but
I don't think the club was ready for that though.
Yeah.
I think they tried it.
But that
made them regress even more. And now it's like we can try it again because we're a bit more stable.
Yeah.
But
And it's easy to say like, Brighton have invested over the but you've had Prem money for way longer than they've done.
Thank you.
What have you been doing with it?
You could have set up an infrastructure way better than Brighton a long time ago.
I think there's definitely
Brighton's a bigger club now.
And again, I think they've done well and they've done well relatively. But if you want to have a look at your peers and look around, there could be a decent and this is probably why John Textor, the American shareholder, he owns Lyon or Lille, one of the other French. He owns a few clubs. He has a different view to Steve Parish about how they should progress the club and invest more money in, etc. And there's probably a conversation to be said. Well, look. Yeah, on some areas done well, but you look at your mates. Look at your mates.
Your neighbours, your rivals.
Right? They're making certain decisions, and the decisions you make 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago with the academy, blah blah blah, they kind of bear fruit now.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it's not a wild shout. It's not a wild shout. So, but these clubs doing this,
4, man. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, and the clubs doing this. This is why the table's so condensed now, right? Because Brighton are doing what they're doing. Wolves are finding some goals somewhere. Forest were playing well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting time.